Hey OEA, this is Sarah Goody at Redesdale Newcomer High School.
And I'm Megan Bumpus from Reach Academy, and we are the co-chairs of the OEA's safety bargaining team. And we're here just to share a little bit about the problems that are happening at our sites, some ways that we think our safety proposal can help solve them, as well as ways that you can get involved in making sure that our schools are safer.
So we're reaching out to you because we believe students deserve safe schools and that we all need to work together to make that happen. Recently, with the rise of the Delta variant, the number of COVID cases among young people has been on the rise. And that includes an increase in cases, hospitalizations, and in some regions of the country, even deaths. There's increasingly a lot of evidence to show that students are struggling with the effects of long COVID. And a recent CNN article said that as many as 46% of children between the ages of 10 and 22 experienced at least one symptom in the 6 months after recovering. And so these are really serious concerns. We don't know what the long-term impact is going to be for young people who come down with COVID. And so we want to make sure that we stop the spread of COVID as much as possible in our schools and keep them as safe as possible.
So what are some of the safety problems that exist in our school sites?
So the first one is the lack of testing access. There are only 10 testing sites across the entire district when we have more than 80 schools, and they're only open from 8 to 4 p.m. So they're not accessible to many students and families. We have to test regularly to know what the real infection rates are and to stop the spread of COVID in our schools. So we propose weekly testing at all school sites.
We know that ventilation is also a huge problem at many of our school sites. Many cafeterias, including ours at Reach, lack HEPA filtration at all. The science is very clear that indoor unmasked contact is the most dangerous thing for spreading COVID, and we need to prepare now for cold and rainy weather when we know all students are eating indoors. Our proposal is to install HEPA air scrubbers in all large spaces, as well as CO2 filters to monitor air quality in classrooms and large spaces.
We also know that when possible, the safest option is for students to eat outdoors. And some schools don't have enough equipment for outdoor eating. So we propose that tables, chairs, and shade structures should be provided to all schools for safe outdoor eating, as well as a schedule and plan for safe eating, including staggered lunch breaks if necessary.
Power outages and smoke days are going to be a problem too. And so if a school site loses power, the HEPA air filters and the HVAC systems stop working. And on poor air quality days where it's smoky outside, we also are going to need to shut the windows, which windows need to be open so that we have ventilation during COVID. And so what we're proposing is we need clear protocols and procedures for power outages and smoky days, including initiating early dismissal for extended power outages.
The lack of staffing has also been a major concern, including a lack of nurses, a lack of substitute teachers, and then seeing teachers being consolidated at sites in the middle of a pandemic, meaning that they're being removed from their current site and sent to another school. And so we propose that each school be given funding to hire a STIP substitute teacher at every site, that the district offer incentives to hire more nurses and substitute teachers, and that instead of consolidating teachers in the middle of a pandemic and disrupting the entire school, that a hiring bonus be given to all new hires to fill the remaining teacher vacancies.
COVID leave expires at the end of this month. Our team proposes that the district extend COVID leave through the end of this school year.
So now we'd like to talk a little bit about what it would take to solve these problems. And we want to emphasize that we don't think you can put a price on human life, and we should be doing anything that we can to safeguard the health and the safety of staff, of students, of families, and the broader community. OUSD has the funding to make all of these things happen. They received $283 million in COVID funding. About $100 million of that remains unspent. It's earmarked for the future, but it hasn't yet been voted on by the school board.
An example of a way that our team proposes some of this money be spent is on those industrial air scrubbers for large spaces. To have that at 75 schools would only cost a little over $100,000.
What about outdoor equipment? If we were able to roll out 750 chairs, canopies, and canopy walls at every single site, that would cost just over $1 million.
We know that we need nurses at every school site. Right now, the ratio is way too high. To get us to a ratio of 750 nurses per student, our team proposes incentives that would bring and retain nurses in OUSD.
And that would cost just over $2 million. So we want to emphasize this message over and over again, that students deserve safe schools, that we think these problems are incredibly urgent, and that we look forward to meeting with district officials immediately so that we can make our schools as safe as possible. And we also want to emphasize our safety depends on all of us. We're not going to win at the bargaining table. We're going to win by the collective activity, of teachers, students, staff, families, everybody fighting all together for the things that we need to make our schools as safe as possible. So this Wednesday, we're asking everybody to wear red for ed and take a school picture together, and then to show up to the board meeting at 5:15 p.m., where we'll be rallying for safer conditions at our schools. And the only item on the board meeting for that day is the public sharing or the sunshining of our proposal around safety in our schools. And so again, we hope to see you 5:15 Wednesday outside the school board, or join via Zoom and wear red for ed.
For more information on our safety proposal, as well as ways to organize in support of safety at school sites, you can check out our team website, OEA's Facebook page, and OEA's Instagram page.